So you do breath work. What kind of breath work do you do?
Yeah, so I did the WiM Hof breathing for a long time. It's very helpful for a lot of people who have like low energy in the morning, have some anxiety, some depression. It's kind of like a way to power up your nervous system and get you up and going. The way to think about the breath is the only part of your autonomic nervous system, which is out of your control, your automatic nervous system that you can control physically.
Interesting.
So through your breath, you can control the level of stress in your system, in your nervous system. That's why it's so powerful.
And so you did do the Wim Hof method.
Wim Hof is very good. A little bit more involved one that requires a little bit of training to get to it. It's called Buteyko, Buteyko. It'll take you maybe 2 to 3 weeks to figure out, to get to the level where it's working for you. And the main way it works is you try and reduce your breathing. You go to episodes like you do like 12 minutes of controlled where you're slowing your breathing.
And what's the advantage to doing breath work? Is it oxygenating your blood? Is it resetting your nervous system, taking you out of like a sympathetic state?
So very good question. We tend to, as a society, to overbreathe. We're breathing too much. The reason we do that is we are in a stressful environment. Stress from life, from light, from EMFs, from food. We are stressed, so we tend to overbreathe. What overbreathing does is you overbreathe when you're scared, when you're cold. That's your sympathetic or stress system. So your body associates overbreathing with anxiety, with high levels of stress. On the other hand, breathing slower goes into the parasympathetic or the calming nervous system. So that gives you kind of like a stability. You're calmer. You're still able to rise up your nervous system if you need to, but your baseline is calmer.
That makes sense.
And then at a cellular level, what the Buteyko does is that it forces you to hold your breath for long periods. And when you do that, you are actually raising your carbon dioxide levels. You would think that carbon dioxide is bad. Well, you're only raising it a very small amount. But this difference, what it actually does in your cells, is that it makes your cells more efficient in using the oxygen that you have.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So this is something Buteyko discovered a long time ago. He's a Russian scientist, and he saw that all of his patients tend to overbreathe. And he discovered just through trial and error this breathing exercise. And like he would help people with asthma. He would treat asthma just through these exercises. So it's pretty powerful.
Yes. I did breath work once. I did like an hour-long session where I was breathing, I believe it was through the mouth, in and out basically, and this practitioner had some music going. It was psychedelic. It was quite incredible. My whole body started tingling. Like I started to have visuals like I was on some psychedelic drug. It was pretty wild. And my wife does it often. She meditates and she does, breath work. A lot of times I got a 3-year-old running around that's kind of a handful, healthy, not vaccinated, not eating crappy food, full of energy, intelligent. And so it can be kind of draining on my wife. And so we have a babysitter come by a couple times a week so that she can go meditate and do breath work.
Amazing.
And so it seems to be something that's been very impactful for her. I, on the flip side of that, don't do any of that, even though I know I should be doing breath work and meditating.
It's kind of like Buteyko is a little bit of an involved exercise. I tell people it's kind of like picking up a new hobby. It'll take you maybe 20 minutes a day, but it's kind of cool and you try and figure it out and it'll help your exercise ability. It'll help your levels of stress, etc.
What do you think about ice baths?
Very good. I mean, Wim Hof did a very good job of introducing people to cold exposure. Dr. Jack Kruse is also a big fan. At a cellular level, cold exposure allows you to release photons of light from your own cells.
Really?
From your own mitochondria, yes.
How is that possible?
It's pretty incredible what the body is capable of. We just try to think of it as molecules and chemicals and sodium and potassium, but it's light, it's energy, and it's able to sublimate the energy of the cold into generating light.
That's incredible.
Okay, and that helps with sort of cleaning up things in the mitochondria. So the cold exposure does. I find it's very helpful for people who live in cold places, especially in the winter. Because in the winter, there's not that much sun. You kind of don't have the natural light coming from the sun. A way to kind of get your body charged up is to get cold exposure. And it's kind of good for your body because it understands, the climate that you're in and adjusts your metabolism, etc., according to where you're at that point. For a lot of people, it's very helpful. For some people, it can be a bit too much for them. Like if they're already under a lot of stress, cold can be an extra stress on them. So I don't recommend it for everyone, but for a lot of people, it can be very helpful.
And if you live in a warmer climate, it's less impactful or less necessary?
If you live in a warm climate, ideally you should be getting sun every day. So you don't need the cold. If you live in a cold environment, it's a lot more relevant because you need...
That makes sense. And on the flip side, what about saunas and dry heat versus infrared? Dr. Rhonda Patrick, I've listened to her talk about saunas, and Andrew Huberman. I mean, it's like a significant reduction in like all-cause morbidity for people who use saunas often.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the research about it. What I can tell you is I've read a lot. It helps with like detoxing things. A lot of people that have some toxic burden in their body, it helps them get that out. So I do it. I feel good on it. I don't know what the research says about it.
Okay. Do you meditate?
So this Buteyko, once you get into it, it starts to become sort of, you also incorporate meditation into it. So I do, yes.
Are you familiar with Bruce Lipton in the book Biology of Belief?
I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, it's the idea that our beliefs have a literal impact on our physiology on a cellular level. In epigenetics, like phenotypic expression, like if I took an exact genetic replication of myself and put myself into a completely different environment with different environmental factors, stressors, nutrition, and also belief sets, that there's going to be a different phenotypic expression based upon that. One of the things that I've really tried to do personally is make sure that I'm thinking positive things. And like, I don't know, as I'm saying this, Joe Dispenza comes to mind, and I don't know if this is true, but his story is apparently he broke his back and he laid in a bed in the hospital and visualized for months on end his back healing. And he goes around the world, podcasts, doing seminars and talking about how he healed his back through thinking through that. I find that to be very fascinating.
I mean, if you travel back 1,000 years and you ask someone from 1,000 years to look at our society currently, especially in the West, the first thing they're going to question is, how are you guys so materialistic? Where is your belief in the power of the mind, the power of spirit, the power of God, whatever you want to call it? Societies have always believed in that stuff because it does play a role, whether you like it or not. It's not just chemicals. It's not just receptors. It's not just studies. There are things more than that, and it's kind of like a method of control to dumb people down, where you're only thinking at a surface molecular materialistic level.